And on the same note, I mean, you might have heard Germany also decided to move away from nuclear energy by 2024. And Germany's plan foresees that by 2050, Germany will be powered 100% by renewable energy. So, anyhow, in Germany, what that meant from 1990 to 2011, in addition to the existing landfill and recycling jobs and everything else, it added over 300,000 jobs in the industry by moving away from landfill. It's now an annual turnover of about 70 billion euros. And those billion euros, they stay local. They don't go out of the country. They stay within Germany. They stay within each individual community. Greenhouse gas reductions of 30 to 60 million tons annually. If the environment is a concern, I mean, I think it should be. That's my personal opinion, though. But that's another thing. And what it was built on is a very strong political will, a focus on science and long-term economic environmental modeling, and the protection of an investment in assets. Really, that's what makes Germany strong, investment in assets, and doing something about a growing liability. This is a quick overview of what happened in Germany. Before the picture looked different. This is what it looks today. It's nearly 70%. You see, it's a very elaborate system. I don't want to go into all the details. I just want to give you an idea what happened. And this works. I mean, the numbers are in. Also, what's interesting to see, if you look at the very left here, you see Germany right here, and you see that Germany, I mean, it's listed at 68% recycling and less than 1% landfilling. And the reality is, if you look at this, the more waste to energy you have, the higher your recycling rates. The less waste energy you have, the higher your landfill rates. And that's the same. Studies have shown throughout the US and Europe that recycling and waste energy do go hand in hand and enhance one another. Alternatives to landfilling would be waste avoidance, producing less waste, higher quality products, which last longer, buying less, consuming less. But that's an economic challenge because that might mean we lose jobs. You know, we're built on using things, so we need to change our economic model to accommodate the waste avoidance and the longevity of products, and become also more active in how we deal with the remnants of the products. Recycling, well, recycling needs bias, quality, and quantity. What really is important is the sustainable balance, and this is why zero waste is not feasible, because at some point there's a cost to everything, and the environmental impact at some point to recycling is that there's a certain balance. And like as you see with Germany, 70%, that's a breaking point right now, because anything more, Germany already spends a lot of money on recycling efforts. And there's a study that came out recently in Metro Vancouver, British Columbia, that identified a cost to move from 54% recycling to 70% to $3.5 billion Canadian dollars. Composting, well, we have the quality, but there's still the contamination, the impunity of it, and the market for composting. Composting is a phenomenal concept. We need to pursue it, but again, we need to focus, and that again creates jobs to create a good quality compost that we can apply and that we can use. Energy and material recovery, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but it's an upfront cost, and there's a risk factor involved depending on what technology is used, and then there's recovery of energy, materials, greenhouse gas reduction. So I'm going to look at one model facility in the city-state of Hamburg, who has been a zero landfill city since 1999. And this facility basically enables you to put 100% garbage in, and 99% come as marketable products out of it. And new technology, which has been implemented right now, will even allow the 1% that's remnant right now to be reintroduced and recovered a few more materials. So it's also part of a proposal I was involved with the city of Los Angeles, and the proposal goes of 99.4%, I think, landfill diversion, and the remnants will be reintroduced into the furnace. This is a facility I'm talking about. Several, like Steve has seen it. Kathy has been to this facility. As you can see, this is a city skyline here. This is on the river, which gives you unique access for a road and for, if you could have rail access, but it also gives you the ability to bring waste by barge if you want, and it can safely be built next to the water, because waste energy facilities are zero water discharge facilities. And just to give you an overview, just to the few technicals I have built in, waste gets delivered, goes into the bunker, gets fed into a grate system. This is a mass burn concept. It gets burned. The bottom the waste gets turned into bottom ash and energy, but the energy is the flue gases. And then you have scrubbers that eventually, through bag houses and wet scrubbing in this facility, result in basically just water coming out of the smokestack, nothing else. It's a very safe concept. Just a quick overview, I'm not going to go into details, but this is how elaborate the bottom ash treatment process is, and what allows us, you recover ferrous, non-ferrous metals, certain fractions are returned for further treatment in the facility, and other particles are directly pulled out of the waste stream, or actually used right into the trucks and used in applications. And where you can use bottom ash is in the port. This is the port of Hamburg, and they used 450,000 tons of bottom ash on this terminal. And it's the largest recycling project to date in Germany still. And what this makes it so interesting is because this terminal has 3 million TEUs throughput annually, which is probably what Tacoma and Seattle about combined do today in one terminal. Hamburg is right now about the 7th or 8th largest terminal in the world, port. And the other thing what's interesting is this is going to be probably the first carbon neutral port in the world. Because they operate, I mean, they can unload the biggest ships that are currently going, 3 of them at the same time simultaneously. It's fully automated, so it's a high investment risk to build this on the bottom ash, but it saved them 40% of the construction cost, and it also resulted in a much more user-friendly product, which they found out later on. So numerous other applications in the port have happened since. This is how it looks. You have about 10 inches of ash, and bituminous layers, you have 2 usually of just asphalt on top of it. Very, very user-friendly product. Such a facility doesn't compete with recycling or with waste avoidance. It protects the land and the air because there's zero landfilling, there's zero water discharge, significant greenhouse gas reductions, and overall considerable emission reductions. Following the EU example of classifying waste as a resource currently under EPA consideration by growing demand, but it lacks the funding, which is kind of, why it lacks funding? This is a good solution. What will it do? It will create substantially more jobs, create substantially more revenues. It moves us away from a liability to an asset and respects the rights and existence of future generations, which I think we really need to keep in mind. This is another facility as an example. This are houses right here, which are basically 100 yards away. And this is a facility right here. Rail and truck access for this one here. And this is in Nuremberg, in Germany. So it fits in architecture too. It's becoming much more attractive. It doesn't look so offensively as the old ones did. These are some other ideas for architectural designs. This is out of Denmark. Then you have several ones across Europe. And usually, sometimes they don't even incorporate anymore a smokestack, depending on what the location is. And sometimes you just have a smokestack because it fits the design very well. This is a facility in Vienna, Spittelau, Vienna. People don't usually know what this is when they walk by it. They just take a lot of pictures. They talk about Hundertwasser, the architect who built this, but it is a waste-to-energy facility. This is also interesting. This is, if you look at it, right here is where the waste-to-energy facility is. The smokestack is the same height as the building. And this is where the royal family lives. This is where people live. You see it's downtown dead center right there. The World Economic Forum in Switzerland in 2009 identified 8 emerging large-scale clean technology sectors, and municipal solid waste to energy is one of them. Very important fact. So what are the challenges? Which is a misconception. It's a false use of data and distortion of facts, because waste to energy, let's say in this case, is no longer something that that pollutes. It doesn't compete with recycling, contrary to what has been said. It doesn't compete with waste avoidance goals. The data and the statistics and the facts show the opposite. It's also an unmatched lobby by the competition. The landfill industry and opposition spend 5 times as much on lobby efforts than the waste energy industry. It's also scare tactics and scare and fear tactics towards politicians and the public by special interest and lobby groups, which results in a lack of knowledge and an education, lack of knowledge, education, information overload, which eventually means just a distortion of facts and eventually just avoidance of the subject. There's no base or concept to move forward from. The way we do business in the US, right now we have to consider 2 companies manage 80% of the volume of the waste in the US. Same 2 companies manage substantially more than 50% of our recycling.